Hello, professionals. My name is Rico Adam, and I'm the founder of Professional Lunch. Today, we are at Sunday's Donuts here for a very special professional lunch. And I have with me Jeffrey and Kirk. Guys, introduce yourself for the professional lunch audience.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm the CEO and co-owner of Sandy's Donuts.
Kirk?
I'm Kirk. I'm a partner and founder of Heat Transfer Warehouse.
All right, today we'll be talking about family business. So, how has it been working in a family business?
You got so many different scenarios.
Yeah.
Like,
I can go. So, first, my grandpa started Sandy's back in 1983. So I've been around this business my entire life. And it's been a pretty cool experience. And I really didn't know if I was gonna, stick with it or what I was gonna do. And then kind of went in the military and then went to school for business and kind of decided that this is where I wanted to go. And it's been a good experience, but that definitely has tricky moments with the whole family aspect and trying to decide what's right and what they think's right, and it can get a little tricky at times.
Wow, we'll cover that better in the conversation. Kirk, what do you think?
yeah, so, I look at it as, Heat Transfer Warehouse, I'm one of the partners. In my current family business, obviously, my ex-wife is my partner. And then my current wife is also working in the business. So I want to make it, make it interesting. We have a definitely interesting dynamic. It worked well, but also there is, like Jeff says, there's times that you're just like shaking your head, okay, this is not working, what's going on? And luckily it makes sense. We've been working through things and make things happen, but it definitely can be difficult. So
Well, I'm sure there will be opportunities for you to talk a little bit more about that. So what are some of the traits of a healthy family business? What would you guys say?
I think communication is probably one of the biggest, like having healthy communication and just if you have frustration, a problem or anything, just talk it out. Because when you don't talk about it, you're gonna, build animosity and you're gonna be frustrated and that's gonna lead to more issues.
I'll echo on Jess as far as communications obviously is key. And you lose communication, everything breaks down and goes, no matter what, goes bad. I also think of like just sometimes having people for like a moderation or another person you can bounce off of, kind of like, hey, this is what's going on, given a different perspective. A lot of times will help you kind of work through those things that you're all of a sudden you hit some road bumps in that road and, they talk you through. They're like, okay, I didn't look at it this way. Makes sense. Because sometimes when you have that family dynamics, you get some tunnel vision. And so I think having like a moderator or a mentor is a lot of help for us.
Wonderful. Both of you mentioning communication. Give me an example of good communication or of miscommunication.
Well, I think miscommunication is almost easier. Probably to say you have a issue with one of your family members who's very involved in the business, and you are uncomfortable talking to them about it, or you kind of just don't mention it for a long time. Also, it's more and more it's building up, and eventually it becomes a huge issue, and maybe you explode, or maybe your relationship kind of gets affected from it, and you finally talk to them about it, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even realize I was doing that," and it could have been avoided, and it's just miscommunication. Yeah.
Kirk, what do you got?
I think, like I said, I talk to my partner and everything. I talk daily. Okay. Like we'd never ignore like each other. We talk daily on it. We'll pull each other aside when we disagree on an issue. So we're like a united front on things. Like we know like, hey, we have to be united. We have to be on point. We can't all of a sudden be like bickering in a room or a boardroom. It's like, we've found ways to make sure that, hey, you don't like what I'm saying, pull me aside, listen, talk through it before we go into like a meeting or something like that. And I think that's really important. Talking daily is critical. I think it is really like, hey, what's going on? And, this is this. And it could be just one thing. Okay, great. Or, hey, I just did this and this happened. Okay, cool. Because then all of a sudden you get pulled into somebody and say, hey, do you know what's going on? They're like, well, I didn't know. And we both of us don't want to be like not knowing. And that's really good communication, obviously, is just talking daily and just 5-minute brief helps a lot. So,
Well, this kind of touch on the challenges of having a family business, which we're going to talk about a little later. But so what are some of the advantages of having a family business?
Say the big advantage is flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
You can, they kind of understand you, and you can kind of talk to them, be like, hey, this is what's going on, and kind of get some wiggle room, can I get some days off? But then counter to that is family business, like you're all in. Like you can't be like, I don't want to do that. It's like, if you have to do something, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, there's extremes on both ends. So it can be great, and also can be extremely difficult.
I think
Advantages of having a family business.
I think it's a lot of it's trust. Knowing you know these people a long time, and knowing that like they have your back.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that all the time is great. Knowing that when you walk into situations, you know that those are the people that are going to trust you. They got you. They're going to take care of you, and that's probably the biggest thing I think is an advantage, is having that trust, and obviously you know people and they're going to be there for you. And then to echo him is like, hey, you got problems, you got kids problems or like that. Well, I work with my ex-wife, we're like, hey, we got something with the kid. We jointly, we know, okay, now we have to do this. And it takes what? You take the morning, I'll take the afternoon. Those are the advantages. Like, okay, we'll handle it. We'll get it done. And so those are definitely some advantages, where other ways, you'd be like, hey, I got to do this. And people are like, well, why? So it helps definitely being clear is what we can do.
Okay. How are family businesses differ from other business structures? What would you say?
I mean, they can definitely be less structured at times. Kind of like, say, a corporation maybe is going to be very specific rules and regulations, where family business kind of a little more free for all sometimes, at least in the beginning stages, but ideally build that up so you have a good structure as well. But
yeah, I think I don't know if there's a difference. It shouldn't be. I'll tell you, it shouldn't be. There is the flexibility, they know people and everything else, but I think really the structure should be the same. We're a corporation, and it's like, but it's like S corp, whatever else. So it's definitely different than like a true like C corp. Yeah. But I feel a lot of times the structure you really need to focus on, and we get there. Granted, we weren't there at the beginning. Is getting to that level of, hey, your structure should be the same, because it's important. At the end of the day, that family business, if it keeps on going on, great. But if not, you come to a point where like, hey, we're going to sell, we're going to walk away. It's a lot easier to have an exit strategy when it's a lot clearer. So,
okay. So, how are family business employees and non-family business employees being managed differently? Do they get managed differently?
Yes and no. There might be a little more flexibility sometimes, because you trust them and you know that they're telling you the truth. But really, I mean, I gotta tell my siblings that you're an employee, but you're also my brother, my sister. But you're an employee, you're gonna be treated as such. You can't just be lazy and skip a bunch of work. And you are fireable. Anyone's fireable. So it's also with family business employee. It's their family business, so they should be respecting that too. Even if they're not the ones who are in charge, they should be respecting it. So,
okay.
I think it's I hold it to a higher level. And I truly do, and I think that's probably maybe like my son just he went intern this summer. And I'm like, you got to be like this. Like, you have to do this. You have to show up on time. You're going to start from the bottom, but like, you have to be like role model. Like, hey, you're getting no favors because dad is here. Yeah. Okay. I say my wife and then like my partner, we hold each other to a higher level. I'm like, hey, you got to be better. You should be better. And I got to do that on my wife. I'm like, oh, you need to be better. And I think I hold them honestly, I do a way higher level than I do my existing team members.
Wow. I like that. And that fits well into my next question. How does family legacy affect your business decision? Because you mentioned your son, if you was to take, how does that family legacy affect your business decision at times?